The Fun Pimps are joining Behavior Interactive.
Bullshit. The Fun Pimps got bought. In this video, we're going to talk about the basic deal between the two companies. We're going to talk about the Ask Me Anything or the lack thereof. We're going to go over some compiled questions that did not get answered, and we don't know why. And we're going to ask why they're deleting questions, both from the Blood Moons Discord and from the AMA. My questions got deleted. I don't know why. Let's go. So we'll start with timelines. March 24th, 2026, the Fun Pimps basically drop a bombshell on us. They drop a video announcing that Behavior Interactive and the Fun Pimps are joining forces. As I said, this is not true. It's not a merger. It's not a loose partnership. It is an acquisition. Behavior Interactive officially now owns the Fun Pimps. Behavior Interactive is the studio responsible for Dead by Daylight. So on March 25th, for the first time ever, the Fun Pimps did an Ask Me Anything. They hosted this on Reddit, and it was true Fun Pimps fashion, total shit show, and it left us with more questions than answers. The real question is, we want to know why. Why are the Fun Pimps hiding? And what are they hiding? So the Fun Pimps say they will continue to lead development just as they always have, but that raises questions like, if the Fun Pimps continue down the road that they've been going down and it hurts sales, then what protection does Behavior Interactive have against that? I would never sign a business deal with the Fun Pimps without some sort of protection like that, you know? Like, if you guys start fucking up, which you're probably going to do, like, granted, we're going to give you as much help as we can because we have a vested interest in it. But if you start fucking up, at what point do we just take over completely? That's an important question. No immediate changes to the Fun Pimps and no immediate changes to 7 Days to Die. The game will continue on its current roadmap, which we had an example of at one point, but we're so far off track now. We have no idea what the roadmap looks like. Modding will stay fully supported and there's no intention to move away, and that's a direct quote. No plan changes for pricing at all. All of the questions they answered really felt like a copy and paste answer. It felt like they were sitting there as a team figuring out how to word things so they didn't have to reveal anything. I have several questions to ask them, and I did ask them, and they got deleted. We'll go through those in a minute. The key points from the AMA are very, very, very limited. Creative control stays with the Fun Pimps. Behavior Interactive is going to provide extra resources. We all know that. It's supposed to accelerate the current roadmap. I don't think that the Fun Pimps were prepared for the questions that I wanted to ask. So a few days ago, I went into the Blood Moons Discord and I was curious, who owns Blood Moons? Is it Illogica that owns Blood Moons, or is it the Fun Pimps that owns Blood Moons? Did Blood Moons go with it, or what's the deal? And that sparked some conversation back and forth. And I had several other questions, and I posted them, and I took the risk, and I tagged Richard Hunick in the post. Lathan, aka Fubar Prime, he deleted the questions. Luckily, I have the questions copied and pasted. Question number 1, and this is an important question. Due to the sensitive nature of this acquisition, did both studios sign an NDA before or during due diligence? The reason I ask this is because they are not being transparent. And the reason might be that they signed an NDA. Question 2, how much was the Fun Pimps studio purchased for? I'm not expecting an answer from this question, but let's just say that. If this remains confidential, any guidance on the scale of the deal would still be appreciated. I'm definitely not expecting an answer from this one. Question 3, purchasing an entire studio while allowing the original team to retain full creative direction involves a lot of complex moving parts. How long has this deal actually been in the works? 3 or 4 years ago, my girlfriend and I, we bought a business, and it was incredibly involved. I imagine that because of said complex moving parts, this probably has been in the works for the better part of a year, maybe even 2 years. I didn't ask it in my original questions, but I'd like to ask it now. Did Behavior Interactive require you to go gold and to release the console before buying? This is the most important question that I have to ask. And this one feeds off of, I believe it was Is Pre-Built that asked the original question. What specific assurances does Behavior Interactive have to protect its investment while the Fun Pimps retain creative control? So for example, is there a performance quota, revenue target, or milestone requirement that must be met to keep creative autonomy? At what point can Behavior Interactive step in and take over? Next question. Who owns Blood Moons? Just curious. How long is the seller contractually required to remain involved in the studio and or the development of 7 Days to Die? The reason I ask this is because I personally think that at their age, Rick and Joel are cashing in and they're going to retire. So right now they retain creative control probably until 4.0 and 3.0 until that's all done. I think they're going to be able to get away clean afterwards. How long is that period? Because when we bought our company, the owners were required by contract to stick around for like 6 months. There were several little small things like we would buy something or purchase something and they would charge the old owner's card or send it to the old owner's house. And until we got little things like that cleared up, the owners would have to stick around for a little while. And that's common. That's very common when a business gets purchased. Okay, next, is there a non-compete clause in place? So a non-compete clause would mean that the Fun Pimps are relinquishing control of their studio, basically. Maybe not so much of their game, but like I said, there's a lot of moving parts. But they would not be able to release another zombie title that would directly compete with anything that a Behavior Interactive makes. Next question, what will the ongoing day-to-day role for Rick and Joel post-acquisition be? Will they remain full-time creative leads or is there a transition period? This kind of ties into previous questions. How long are they required to stick around for? That's all. Here's another good question. Were any employment protections included in the purchase agreement? When we bought our company, it was in our letter of intent, which I'm going to go over the whole process, and this is going to be a long video, but it'll be all right. When we bought the company, there was we were contracted. We couldn't fire anybody for, I think it was like 180 days. Next question. Does the deal include any physical assets such as office spaces, vehicles, equipment, computers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Or was that all handled separately? I cherry picked this question from the AMA and it got ignored, and it's a really good question. Who do we go to with our complaints? We could go to the Fun Pimps and they'll just brush it off like they always do. Or we can go directly to Behavior Interactive, who has a vested interest in the success of 7 Days to Die. And they may actually listen. I don't know if you've ever heard of the expression, the new broom sweeps the best, but that might apply in this situation. So if you have criticisms, try sending them to Behavior Interactive and we'll see what happens. So the question is, how will player feedback, bug reports, and community concerns be handled moving forward? Will Behavior's live service expertise from Dead by Daylight be applied to improve communication and responsiveness? My favorite question on here. Next question, are there any planned changes to the monetization model, paid DLCs, updates, microtransactions, now that Behavior is involved? Behavior is infamous for microtransactions and paid updates. So we're concerned about that, and any transparency from the Fun Pimps would be appreciated on that one. This one is a point of contention because Behavior Interactive has had many criticisms over using AI for art, for coding, and for design. So the question is, will AI be used in any aspect of 7 Days to Die development now that Behavior Interactive is there? If Behavior Interactive relies heavily on AI and the Fun Pimps has now quote unquote joined the team, it stands to reason that there's going to be quite a bit of AI being used. Next question, are there any plans for any cross promotion, shared assets, or integration between 7 Days to Die and Behavior's other titles? I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. Another tinfoil hat conspiracy theory is that Behavior, once their contract is up with the Fun Pimps, with Rick and Joel are out of the picture, they're going to shut 7 Days to Die down. I'm not sure what that's going to look like, so go ahead and download your game versions now. Right, in the letter of intent or final purchase agreement, at what point, if ever, could Behavior step in and override creative decisions of if milestones are missed? I sneakily asked this question twice. It's the most important question, in my opinion. And last question overall, how do you see 7 Days to Die evolving over the next 2 to 3 years under this new partnership? These are the questions that I asked, and I asked Rick these questions in the Blood Moons, 7 Days Blood Moons Discord. I asked it here on purpose because it's fairly quiet, and I knew that it would stay on the screen for long enough for somebody to see it. And somebody did see it. It was Lathan, and he deleted the questions. And yes, sure, I broke a rule when I tagged Richard. It's clearly stated in the rules, do not tag TFP staff. My bad. Not really. I would take the risk. I would do it again in a heartbeat. But I want to talk about this conversation here. Fubar Prime tells me to please refrain from adding staff members. Now, if he would have just left it at this, it would have been fine. But he deleted the questions. So that's where I get aggressive. And let's talk about this. Let's go through this conversation. And you can find this in 7 Days Blood Moons Discord under game discussions. I ask, were my questions inappropriate? Why delete them? Did I hurt somebody? I'll just repost the same questions again. Lathan comes back. It didn't hurt anyone. That's not really the way to get an interview though. So educate me, Lathan. Educate me instead of censoring me. Those same questions were asked in the AMA and got ignored. I'm only addressing the elephant in the room, the questions that people have, myself included. I think censoring might be a little overboard. Then what is it? I ask question, you delete question. And the excuse here is this is a game discussion chat, so we'd like to keep the topics relevant to the gameplay discussion for the game Blood Moons. Cool. Go ahead and scroll up and tell me tell me why this one didn't get deleted and why this didn't get deleted and why this didn't get deleted. It was targeted, clearly targeted. Also, keep in mind that even if you ask it, it doesn't guarantee an answer. Okay? We're all busy working, and that's why we set aside time for an AMA. Well, this is where I have to start nitpicking because your AMA was bullshit. It was total garbage. It was crap. You didn't give us any answers. You avoided the hard questions, and you copied and pasted the same answers over and over and over and over. I wouldn't be surprised if you had AI do it for you, to be honest with you. That's how vague and just bland the whole thing was. And it was only 2 hours long, and it was on Reddit of all things. Why didn't you do a developer stream? Oh, is it because chat moves too fast and we ask too many questions? As if you can't stop chat and slow things down and scroll up and scroll down? Worst streamer ever.
You know, the only problem is, everybody, your questions flow down the screen. So it's hard for us to pick your questions out. And so that's why we kind of had this list of questions that we were, trying to answer in this order. So, I mean, we could try, but I don't know if it's just going to be them spamming questions. And I'm looking at it and I can't get one question out. Fishing.
I could have gone in on this, but I didn't. I just said, why not just answer the questions? Right? LOL, Rob, I don't know the answers to probably most of your questions. I'm also late for a meeting, so we'll have to pick this up later sometime. This is where I get myself in trouble. So Lathan says, I don't know the answers to probably most of your questions. And my reply to that is, why would you? I didn't tag Lathan. I know he doesn't know anything. I don't want to talk to him. I wanted to talk to Richard. So that's who I tagged. I tagged Richard, who then threw you in front of it and didn't reply, didn't answer, didn't do anything. So I tagged a staff member, which violates the rules of this Discord. I was given a warning and I accept that, and I apologize for that. I took a risk and I would do it again in a heartbeat. You say that my questions don't fall under the correct category for a game discussion, therefore my questions get deleted. So where then should I put them? Because rest assured that I'm going to ask them again and again and again, and if I don't, someone else will. And I follow that up with, while you're in your meeting, you should share these questions because they are the questions that the community want answered. TFP's lack of transparency on this has only encouraged further criticism, and it's a bad look. Again, Lathan replies, first, I'm not sure why you're being so aggressive. Have we met? If you're not sure why I'm being so aggressive, then I'm not sure why you guys are being such pussies about this. Just answer the fucking questions, man. So many people want to know. No one threw me in front of it. I just noticed you posted a novel. I don't believe that for a second. Lathan has always been kind of Richard and Joel's pawn. Second, like I said, this isn't the appropriate place, though I'm not sure where he is. Maybe a forum post. There's got to be a place where I can ask simple questions, right? So that's kind of where we stand with everything. And originally this video was going to have a fourth part. It's kind of funny how it worked out, because the fourth part of this video was supposed to be a detailed description on how to buy a business and like the steps that are involved in it. And the whole purpose of it was to kind of illustrate how long the deal has been in the works, especially with how many like complex moving parts there are. You know, the Fun Pimps and Behavior, one sells to the other, but the other still retains creative control. That's an insane amount of working parts, and that's an insane amount of negotiations and back and forth, lawyers, and it was my intention to do a rapid fire, like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and it ended up being 8 minutes long, which would have made this video 8 minutes longer. So I decided to pull that out and do a separate video on that. So if you want to see that, that'll be titled something like, how long has this deal actually been in the works? We don't actually know, but it's purely speculative, but it'll give you a good idea. I think it's like 2 years, a year, 2 years. Sorry if this was super long, but if you stuck around for it, hopefully it helps. And we need to start asking these questions. A lot of these questions are kind of important for us to know. Can't imagine for a million years why they would avoid all of these questions. So not only have they deleted my questions, well, they've deleted your questions off of the Reddit. My original 2 or 3 questions that I asked, they got yeeted, they got deleted by whoever. And the funny thing about my Reddit account is that it's not my name. It's not just Rob. Like, they would never know that it was me, because I never use it. I've used it once or twice. So that tells me that they are in fact deleting questions and avoiding questions and giving very corporate non-answer answers. So anyway, cheers. Appreciate you. And I'll see you in that other video.